Okay, hi. Uh, I have luxurious 30 minutes, which I barely see because I'm blind as a bat, but I can see it. Okay, good. Do this after. But I'm been serial entrepreneur for 10 years, so in the startup world, I think 3 minutes is a luxury already. So let's see if I can fill 5 minutes, and then you're gonna have a longer break. This title, I had problems, so I got help of choosing it because I wasn't completely sure what you would like to hear and what's actually valuable to you to listen, to know. And last 2 years I've been like this, focusing on actually doing this. So actually I'm a little bit rusty on speaking, which we start to doing now, more promotion and so on. So let's see. I have 3 things I want to cover. One is that I want to scare the crap out of you of what comes to future of food production, what kind of challenges we have in it. Because it started to be evident to me a couple of years ago when we started this, and looking into more this food production, agriculture problems and so on. So that's one. And then I want to shamelessly, of course, promote our product, which is now on sale, so you can start ordering it. And then third, I want to again scare the crap out of you if you're thinking about hardware startups. I have always sworn I will not do them, and this is my third one. So let's see how the future plays. So if we start on the big picture, is that a conservative estimate is that we need double amount of food in our lifetime, more or less, and especially our children's lifetime. So, okay, we can do the, let's say the one way would be just if you watch the Spinal Tap, the movie, you go from 10 to 11. So you just increase the quantity, but we can't do that anymore. Actually, farmable land is getting smaller, and the crops and the yields are actually plateaued, so we can't actually just get the quantity like the normal way, that we just add more volume. And of course, we are already, from environmental point of view, we are already over the limit of what the environment can burden. So now it, of course, starts to become a challenge and a little bit scary. And I think Nick already started to scare you with, I mean, this Syria and the water has the same issue. So this is not just that, okay, what can we eat in the future, but it becomes, let's say, more violent if we don't start solving this. So, of course, this as a Grainsense, this is a big thing to bite, and of course we are not directly solving this challenge. So what is left, what we can do, let's say, more realistically and easily now. And it's more that if we can improve the quality part and optimize what we get out of now, because that actually is very unoptimized. So if we know more the quality, and if we can sooner understand how to react and how to use pesticides and fertilizers, we can actually do something now already, like next year, not in 20 years. So this starts to be closer to what we are into it. But the problem is that these people who have the burden to produce this double amount of stuff are actually farmers who average almost 60 years old in Western countries. They are not high-tech, they're not tech-savvy. They're actually financially struggling to even barely live, and they are farmers because it's in their blood. So this is not like, in that sense, you can say that it's not a professional, coherent profession or industry. And these big players are actually, it doesn't see, when you go to a farm, it's actually, all the tech and all the harvesters and all that, it's still pretty traditional way how land is being harvested. So it's actually, we have talked to many farmers, and in Germany, in Finland, and Sweden, and you can still see that they do completely different things themselves, and they are alone almost themselves. So this is where we aim, and this is for whom we are doing it. We want to give them the tools that they can actually get more with less money, with less resources, less fertilizer. They can get the best price out of that. Because protein, which I learned only a couple of years ago, because I'm not an agriculture engineer. I've done web idea competitions before and these kind of things. So this agriculture was completely new to me in that sense, and I didn't even know that what sets the price is protein. So whatever the farmer does, he gets paid of how much protein is in his crop per ton. And he doesn't know it. He has no idea until he has done all the work, harvested, put it in the silos, and then sent the samples to the laboratory. And 7-8 days later, he will get the answer, but he can do nothing with that information. So he only gets, and the buyers only are the ones who know. He doesn't actually know himself. So when we started this, or this actually goes back to 15 years VTT optical research, that there is a current method, there is a solution what they're doing now. It's about 35,000 euro laboratory equipment, which is about this size. People with only with white coats can use it, almost like PhD level, and that it only takes samples that have already been harvested. So it takes so much samples and it has to be dried. So it's only mainly used only for setting the price of the crop. So if we could do it, and this comes another point later, but if we can do it 1/10 of the price, not half the price, 1/10 of the price, we can do it 1/10 of the size, and that the sample size is more than or less than 1/10. How could this change how farmer could use and bring value to himself, and then of course the rest of the chain? So this was started like 4 or 5 years ago of because VTT had a research more in medical side, and then our main inventor, Dr. Ralf Marba, who is a German living last 15 years in Finland, started asking that, okay, what would farmers think? And he went straight to the MTK, which is let's say the head organization for farmers in Finland. And they were pretty excited of this possibility. So, but these, again, like Nick said, there is no market at the moment. There is moisture meters, but again, that's used only to get below 14% so you can sell it. But there is no market for this. So when we asked farmers what could they do if they got this, they were not completely sure because they have no tools like this. So of course we started to find information and speculate, but we got, throughout this 3-year journey, we got all the, let's say, go-ahead green lights, and the last we got the investors as well. So we started more or less a year and a half ago officially with about 2 million euro investment and funding from also Tekes. And we got the VTT spin-off, and we got actually also investor Berner, which is our distributor in Scandinavia. So I think we got a pretty good, so we didn't only start, that was already 3 years in the making, but we got a pretty good package at that point to start. And then pretty soon we also were selected in this European EIT Rising Food Stars, which is 35 startups in Europe regarding food, and then there's big players like PepsiCo and Nestle and these that are part of that group. So we started February 2016 to actually realizing it. This is what we are then selling for the farmer. So this is lab in your hand. So the idea is that you can actually get the same results that you can get in a lab, but now it's there when you are going to the field and measuring it before you actually do something. So now you can start planning that, okay, do I have good and do I have something that I can sell to food industry? Because there's very specific limitations of how much protein has to be if you are selling bread, or you're selling it to the mill. And this protein especially is the one that they're looking for. So this is what we're selling. It's about 1/10 of the price, so 3,900, I think it's the official price now for the farmer. And it's pretty easy to use, so I'm actually pretty, let's say, impressed of that they actually, I mean, engineers typically do products for other engineers, and if farmer can use it with 5 lines of user guide, that was our aim. And the biggest thing I had to find that device doesn't have setting or memory at all, because it just makes things much simpler. So of course, because of that, we are in Finland and Oulu, we have to do IoT. It has to somehow relate to IoT. Let's do software. We need mobile, we need cloud, because we need to spend that 2 million euros for something. So of course we have a mobile app, which helps to, let's say, be the gateway, and because we have to update calibrations, we give you new different like peas and fava beans and all these kind of different species that you can measure later. So it helps to connect with our cloud. Also, because we are in Oulu, everyone that I talked to wanted to put the GSM modem inside the Grainsense device, and that I was fighting complete, because that would have made, because we have the cell phones already. I don't want to worry about what's in Brazil, what kind of network there is. So the idea is that this is global and anyone can use it. It doesn't, as long as they have a device that has a Bluetooth and can connect to internet. So throughout this, this is my 3rd hardware startup, and if I can give you an advice, don't do it. Don't start. Your idea sucks. It doesn't work. It's too much money, it's too much resources, and so really, really think about hard. Can there be a hardware that you can already use, or that you can a little bit modify, or not even use? Do a service, let someone else do the hard work, and then just do a service around it or something. But this is more or less what I've learned, and it's actually, I just wrote a blog about it, but you don't really, even I do the same mistake again and again, that I'm a very optimistic person. I say, okay, it takes a year. I think in here we had, the original schedule was 1 year from February. So March we're selling. This year, March, we're not yet selling. So you should double it, and then think about a week, and then redouble it again. Then you start to be in the area. So, and that comes financing. I see many mistakes in Finnish companies, that they are like minimizing financing, or they are like getting few hundreds of thousands of euros or something like that, and then you're screwed halfway your development, and things start to get very ugly from development point of view. So this is, I mean, there's nice agile methods for software development. Software is nice, you can do new features in a day, you can react. In hardware it takes weeks, everything takes weeks and months. Now we had, because we have a very custom detector, we are actually completely abusing all the spectroscopy laws in the way that no one uses a let's say cheaper alternative silicon photodiode the way we are using. We're completely abusing it. And of course these players don't really get why we are doing it this way. But when they're making a mistake, it takes us 4 months to get another one. And that's why we are kind of late, is that there was a small thing we wanted to change 6 months. So this is definitely not something that, I mean, I'm an impatient person. 2 hours is too much, so it's been a very difficult ride in that sense. And then of course scaling, now we have manufacturer, and they need to make profit somehow. So they are not just doing it for the bill of materials, they want to put their margin on top of that. And it's always shocking that they want to make money out of doing manufacturing, and then we are a little bit too over what we budgeted. And then someone has to ship it, so Posti needs to take, and UPS takes money out of it. And then the distributors, they are very greedy. They want to get 30%, 50%, because they are doing all the legwork. So actually, it starts to pile up. And then this is pretty hard technology, so if we want to sell thousands, even there is a demand we can't sell, because it just takes time to do the quality process and also. So really, really think hard. So I'm not definitely the first person to come and ask, should I do this idea or not? You know my answer, you don't need to call me anymore. It's no, don't do it. And then when we get spectroscopy, which was again new to me, I didn't know anything about spectroscopy. That was not mentioned in the physics 101 that we engineers had to take in university, and that it's actually a very small community in many sense, and that what we do, it's always custom, it's always like research, it's laboratory, or it's military, and everything takes long. So actually it was this tiny piece that we needed was actually not, it was the big challenge that we had, even though technically we're not doing anything spectacular on a photodiode or silicon arrays, but still it was a challenge. And then the other is that if you're talking spectroscopy, it's PhDs everywhere. It's very hard to find anyone that, you need like 15 years of experience doing it. So we were lucky because first of all, our inventor is one of the few guys who can do this, and then Oulu is hotbed of spectroscopy. So we have a lot of other startups here as well, and we got a lot of good, let's say, community. And we were lucky finding 2 younger guys as well. But it's definitely, we have an IT problem in Oulu, also a challenge to find coders. But for coder, you can expect couple year, 3 years old, student to code already start doing. But this, 10 years and a PhD, we don't have time to educate these people for that long. And then, of course, it requires calibration. This has been the challenge. And actually, that is, how many startups you have been that you need to fight mice in your office space? Because we have 2,000 samples of grain, and for some apparent reason, people, these small animals like to eat it. And we got 600 kilograms of grain, and we didn't know what to do. It sat there for a day, and it was full of mice and poop and worms, and we were like, okay, then we decided that we hire lab assistants who will do that dirty work, who actually know how to do it. And one lady from agriculture, because we were engineers, like, okay, I have a code session going on here, and we actually killed 4 mice in our office. We had one hunter, and he put these traps, and we were following. Yeah, but it was kind of course, funny in that sense, but still, every pressure and all the time schedules, and we're wasting our time on this thing. And of course, now the quality comes because we want to sell a laboratory device which lab researchers only use to farmers who we don't think that needs to do that kind of level of education and training. So how do we make sure that the quality and everything is set and they don't do it wrongly or these kind of things? So that's actually what we are now doing. I'm actually very in a happy place at the moment because I'm even though I'm an engineer, I hate development. I hate develop products unless I exactly know what the customers want. And in this case, it was very hard to get the farmers to, so we had to revision a little bit for them of what they would like to do. But now we are back in the place that we can give this to the early adopters and start actually looking how they do and listening. And actually, I don't like to get complaints as a person, but I've actually noticed to appreciate that if you get customer calling and complaining to you, you know that, okay, this is a product that he wants, and he's passionate about getting something fixed. So actually, it's a very good news that they call and complain. And so now we know exactly what to fix because they like the idea, they have the big value. That's why they're frustrated that they can't use the big value. So that's actually my mode is now shifting to listening complaints for the next year, and then going as a product manager back to the engineers and guys and say, hey, we need to fix these three things. And we can actually start now selling it in 1.5 months. We're Agritechnica launching officially. So now my other thing that the last challenge is that we listen to farmers and how they think about web development and cloud storage and all that, and everyone said that no cloud, government is watching us, we don't want to give them anything, any information, and now I have to start convincing them that maybe this cloud thing is actually good, that you don't want to just write the numbers down in somewhere. So that's actually the next challenge we have, even though we have spent like 2.x million just getting the hardware. But it's not our product. Our product is actually that the farmer knows what to do to increase the value of the crop that he's doing. And I'm not sure in other countries, but in Finland, the last 2 years has been the worst in, I think, 35 years. So we are starting at the position where farmers are actually mostly going bankrupt or have no money at the moment. So we are getting, like, most of the wheat that we went with our pilot farmers, it goes to animals. So animals, yes, good stuff. They get good stuff a lot. We don't get that much. So mills have to buy outside, and I think like a bread price will go higher and so on. So now we are in a point where startups normally have been set up and they have had milestones that this is it, delivery. Then after that comes that part where you're not completely sure what's going to happen next 6 months and how many are going to be sold and what do we need to do and what are the challenges. So actually that's the next couple months is still we know what to do, and then next year is pretty open. We have big things and big these ideas, but at the moment it's actually pretty scary and exciting at the same time. So maybe next year about this time I can come and say what we did wrong last year and what we shouldn't do again. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, 7 minutes. You're well ahead of your schedule. I'm waiting for your questions. Yeah, there you go. Can you have the catch box, please?
Thank you very much for that presentation, which interested me a lot because I've seen a couple of businesses in a comparable area in the UK, not exactly the same, but trying to improve farming productivity. I was curious to know, what does the farmer do as a result of the knowledge that you're generating?
Well, one thing that they know immediately is that because in Finland and in many places, of course, you have to store it somehow. The one thing that they want to know is that if I have 2 piles, which of the pile I put this load? Because now they're just putting it, you get 9% protein and you get 12% protein, and you're losing like 5,000 euros if you're putting it wrong. So that's immediately what they say, that okay, that will basically get this investment back in about a year. But actually the other thing is that what happens if you have 2 years of data from each field? And that's something that they don't know. We have asked the big guys, they don't know because there's no information available. The speculation price of grain in free markets, stock markets, are based on all information and only quantity. There's no quality information when they're doing it. And now our aim is that in 3 years we have an API to get real-time grain quality information from those locations where our device is being used. And then they can start acting on it, and they get weeks ahead of that information. Example, mills, and we have Grupo An, which has 35,000 contract farmers in Spain, and they contacted us and say, hey, let's do a project where we test first that our device works in Spanish wheat. So I have the unfortunate thing, I have to go next year Spain multiple times to measure, and I hope it's in Mallorca or some nice place. I don't know yet, let's hope. But we go there, but they have 35,000 farmers. At the moment they have no idea before the truck comes that, okay, what I can sell to the big guys. Now they can get 3 weeks ahead, they can start real-time dashboard and seeing, okay, southern Spain 12.5 starts to be average, and then they say, okay, 5 million tons and so on. That's the vision. But at the moment, because no one has had this before, we have to kind of, that's actually one of my jobs, is that I'm doing mock-ups of these dashboards, and then we're going and say, okay, what if you had this information? How would you feel? What you can use? But these cooperatives, these who are selling the contract, the farmer stuff, these are the ones that we are really aiming at with the data. The farmer wants these decisions today, immediately. But these big cooperatives, they want to have the analytics of how it works.
Okay. More questions from the audience? There you go. You get the... Okay.
First, twofold question. Where is it being manufactured currently, the device? And then, because I saw that you intended some reduction on the manufacturing cost, will it then project eventually on the price of the device? Now you say that it's somewhere a bit below 4,000 euros. If you get the manufacturing cost reduced, will you still go even down more, like lower price?
I repeat the question because it goes to the video chat. So where the device is produced at the moment, and
Yeah.
will you decrease the price of the device?
Accordingly, after the manufacturer cost?
Yes.
Well, our manufacturer is our enemy city, which is Kempele, next to us, which will be part of Oulu soon. They're fighting for it, but it's close by, so 30 kilometers. So actually we decided that no China. That's actually one thing that I learned, no China, because our quantities are like 1,000 is a big quantity, and it's not worth going to China. We went to Estonia and tested. Okay, then we decided, okay, we need to go a lot of to manufacturing. Do I want to have that threshold to jump into a plane for 2-hour thing? So we went closer and closer, and actually Innokas Medical, who is like 30 kilometers, was actually, also price was very competitive. But so we are actually, Oulu, we are very fortunate, we can do everything. I mean, we have in Turku, which I think it's part of Finland, right? Turku. We have the mold manufacturing not in China, it's in Turku. And that's the furthest place of everything. I mean, all the subcontractors, everything is from Oulu. I mean, so close, 7 kilometers away. So we are very fortunate of the size of the company. We have all the tech here. And the second is that I'm in immense pressure of reducing the price of the product. So my job is to make sure that the features are done so that they are actually cheaper to manufacture. And then we have a manufacturing engineer who makes sure that it doesn't take 4 hours to do one device. But we are, I mean, even though we are 1/10 of the price, we still think it's like half too much. And this big data idea is that if we can prove that the data is more valuable than the devices, we just start giving them free. But we're not doing that. So it's 3,900 if you go to the online store. So
Okay.
Forget this last comment if you want to buy.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
questions. And if you got interested in, why don't you give a business card and have a chat
Yeah,
later?
give it
with
to
the
me.
business-
I, of course, don't have any business cards for this company with me. So.
Okay,
Other
but
companies.
we can find it from LinkedIn and from your webpage.
Yeah, my name is Yka Marjanen, which there's no other people named Yka in Finland at the moment. So it's pretty
YKA
easy to,
with dots.
YKA with these 2 dots. So it's pretty easy to find in LinkedIn.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much, Yka.